Yes, so we also have different rotations. It was just a coincidence that those two have two very similar rotations. Okay, so that's done. Looks fine. Let's have a look. I think that's already it. Random pinch angle. Let's see what happens if we set this to 50. Oh yeah, it will be a bit too strong. Let's set this to 10, and that will just like sometimes, like over here, the trees won't be perfectly straight up. And I actually want to set this to 7. Now look at it. So that's already it for the trees. Trees are set up. That looks fine like this. Now let's continue. For trees I can now deactivate the trees. And now I want to just select these leaves and these ferns over here, which will be pretty obvious, and I just want to activate those. The reason I do this at the same time is because it saves time. Later on we can select individuals, but this will just work, because now if I place, you can see them. See, for some reason they are all the way below. Huh. It's kind of strange. I think I know why, which would kind of suck, because that means that we need to repaint our vertex offset. If we could just go to alpha and just select our plane, and let's just, with alpha selected on black, let's press the paint bucket. That doesn't seem to do it. I think I know what it is. So our floor over here, a nice floor, it might just be that this one is actually causing the foliage to paint under here. So with our floor selected, let's just move this down a lot for now, and let's have a look to see if that fixes it. Oh, make sure to select your plane before going into foliage. Okay, yeah, so it's getting confused more actually than the last time I tried this, so that's kind of strange. Our floor, let's just remove it for now, just not to waste any time with this. And now if we paint our foliage, it is acting up really strange. Let's select our models. Let's just start making some settings already. Set the minimum on 0.8 and the maximum on 1.5. Random pinch, let's set this to 5. Let's set this to movable. Cast shadows, turn off cast static shadows. Now let's have a look. Vertex color mask. Okay, that looks all fine. So I find it fairly straight that it does not. It looks like it only paints on here. Oh, I just want to make sure I did not remove my alpha. Yes, okay. Okay, let's have a look. Select a plane. Of course. Make sure that the plane is not yet set to movable but on stationary, because foliage does not paint on movable objects. Forgot about that. So this should, yeah, see, now it works. Now if we place our plants, they work, they are nice and dense. So 0.05 actually seems to already work for these. Let's just select them again. Let's go down. So we did the scale, pinch. Okay, that all looks fine. If we go to override materials, oh, not materials, vertex color mask, I mean, and for the red mask, yes, I think it was the red mask. I just want to use the mask and I want to invert the mask. Oh, looks like I just want to use the mask. Because now here on the pebbles, it is not supposed to actually paint on the pebbles, and it does not do that, but I think we need to increase the mask threshold to, let's say, 1. Or maybe the other way around, let's say 0.1. Yeah, okay, so we are still blending over here with this. Okay, so 0.1 was the way to go. So if we set this to 0.1, it will not really paint on the pebbles. Of course, there are still some patches in between here that we did not catch up with the pebbles. For that, do not worry, because we can literally just paint those out after we did a painting pass. So for the scale, I want to set the scale to 1.3 because I found it a bit too big. We have our nice little flowers here. So that seems to work. Okay, so those are done. We can now deactivate them. So we now did the trees, the small bushes. I just want to do the flowers. I just want to activate the flowers and set the maximum to 1.3 and the minimum to 0.8. And once again, pinch angle, I want to set this time on 7. The random pinch angle. I want to set this on movable and turn off cast static shadow. And now you can see our little flowers, which are nice. And once this is done, we can just set the paint density to 0.1, for example, once we are painting these, or even just way higher. And then we can have like nice flower beds, like this. Just have it all the way. So, flowers work, check. Let's deactivate those. Now I want to select these two, which are the slightly less nice looking grass, which is this. And for these I want to set the paint intensity to 0.5, let's say. Okay, and based on, well, let's set this lower. Yeah, okay, so 0.1 seems to work. Okay. Enter our settings, let's say 0.8, and grass is fairly big often, so let's say 1.3 will work. So yeah, that gives us different sizes, so that's nice. Mask threshold, let's set the red mask, use mask, invert mask, and set this to 0.1 again, so we are not accidentally painting on top of our... Oh, do not invert the mask, I forgot again. So that we aren't painting on top of our pebbles that much. Let's actually do the same for... Well, flowers can actually go through the cracks, so I'm not too worried about that yet. I can just paint those out. For shadows, movable, turn off static shadows. Because static means light maps, dynamic is what we want, which is no light maps. That's done, deactivate. And now we have arrived at grass. So for the grass we want to spend a bit more time on, because it needs to be very dense. So the scales I want to set to 0.7 all the way up to 1.5. And I want to set the density all the way to 1, paint density. So then we get this. Let's see, scales, I'm not happy with scales yet. Set this to 2. So 0.6 to 2. .5 even. That works. 2.5 works. Want to go down. Red, use mask, threshold 0.1. Just to get rid of some of the painting on the pebbles. That's especially handy with this one. Random pinch. I think this model is too big to actually do that because it will start floating. So I want to set this only to 3. And I want to set this to movable. Turn off static shadows. No collision. True. Cast shadows is two-sided. Oh, I actually forgot to do that on the other ones. So I need to double check that. Okay, and with that done, I want to set the density to something very high, let's say 800. Okay, maybe a little bit less higher. 500. Does look cool. So much grass, and in lighting it will look even better. 300. Okay, 300 starts to become a bit patchy, but we can double click to increase. Oh, over here 300. Oh yeah, 300 works. It just, as you can see here, that the LEDs are kicking in. Let's undo this, and I want to enter 350. I think that will work for us. Yes, 350. Okay, sorry, 300. Yeah, this one we really need to get white because we will be using this one the most. So that is done. Let's just deactivate this. Well, let's actually activate everything. Activate, deactivate our grass. And with everything on except for our grass, I want to go down. And I want to set cast shadow as two-sided. It will be more expensive, but else it will feel a bit strange if it isn't casting shadows from one foliage on top of the other, for example. Now if we just for the fun of it, change the brush size big. And here we have an entire, let's set this to 0.015. Here we go. And like this, we can already have a base forest fairly quick. Just like double click a few times. Here you go. So that's fairly fast. So that's nice. Let's undo this. And okay, so this was it for the first volume. In this volume we went over on how to set up our basic Unreal scene, and we went over the entire UI. We then made a quick adjustment to our material to paint for our little terrain that we have here. We placed the base objects, we painted our terrain a bit, and we placed our rocks, and we ended up with setting up our foliage. So in the next volumes we will start by painting our foliage, and we will just improve everything, improve the terrain painting, adding more assets, setting up the lighting, post effects, and a whole lot of other things. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial volume so far. My name is Emiel Sliegers, and thanks for watching 3dmotive.com.